Welcome back to the Football Terrace. A good morning. This is a transfer deadline day straight facts special. Hit the like button, please. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel as well. We are talking Alexander Isak to Liverpool. Mark Guehi, is he next? We're also delving into all the big here we goes that have happened this morning. Wissa to Newcastle United. Sancho to Aston Villa. There is Donnarumma to Manchester City. Ten Hag has just been sacked. We're just going to take a little bit of a look back as we're going through these transfer stories at the weekend's football because they are intertwined. Where the teams need to improve, what do these deals mean for the outlook of this season? And I'm sure in the next hour and a half, we're going to get some more breaking news whilst we are live on the air as well. So hit that like button for us. Make sure you're subscribing. This is Straight Facts. Oh, God, I don't know what's going on with stuff today. Anyway, morning, gentlemen. StreamYard nothing about, but we're here. How you doing, gents?
All good. Very happy.
Yeah, I'm all good as long as my team does some business this window. But away from that,
I bet. And look, it was a crazy night last night. Alexander Isak confirmed as a Liverpool player, and I'm sure we're going to get into it. But the breaking news, the breaking news right now is, and I'm going to go to you on this, KJ. Ten Hag has just lost his job. He's just been sacked.
Yeah, that is the third Man United manager to be fired, or ex-Man United manager to be fired within the last week or so. Ollie, Jose, and now Ten Hag. And, it's one of those ones where I don't feel for him one bit. He put us in he put this club in so much pain. Even though, yes, he won us 2 cups, and I'm grateful for that. But he's the way that he was playing towards the end, the talent ID, the transfer window he's given us. Oh, it was just awful. And it's just one of those ones where, okay, you know what? Maybe we've broken him. I can accept that. But he just wasn't good. He just wasn't good in the end. And on the talent ID, Terry, we've signed how many players for him? 11 plus. 11 plus, and there's only 2 players that have been semi-good in Alessandro Martinez
I know, but on a real level though, I do feel a little bit for him, as I've said. Vert's gone, Frimpong, Xhaka, Tar, Henkape.
Yeah.
Like you're losing all those players. And by the way, the German clubs don't let managers buy players. So what I'm not gonna there's banter in it. Yeah, talent ID's bad, crap manager, but it's only English clubs who let managers run their football teams. We're the only country that really allows it. The Germans, the Italians, the Spanish, it's all run by their presidents or their sporting directors. He didn't go, let's go and get Kwanzaa from Liverpool. He wouldn't have made that decision. Because if he actually got to make his own decisions, like when he was at United, he would have come and taken our trash. But even by Leverkusen were like, fuck that. But yeah, 2 or 3 games in, crazy. The good thing is the next manager, I feel like he's being used as a bit of a sacrificial lamb. The next manager is going to get all the love and support from the fans because you're the guy to come in and pick us up from this mess. So I think he might be quite smart from Bayer Leverkusen. But there we go. Loads to delve into this morning, but I did want to start. We will get into Isak. We will get into some of the big news. Also, a big update on Tottenham and Kolo Muani as well for us to speak about this morning. But Jadon Sancho to Aston Villa, this is seen as a potential make-way in the deal for Martinez. But to Jadon Sancho turned down Juve, Roma, Saudi, Chelsea, who offered him 180 grand a week to go and play for Aston Villa. No wins, no goals, no Champions League football. What kind of decision do you make of this of Sancho, George?
well, they do have Europa League football. Just to say, it's a bit cheeky coming from a team that doesn't play any European football, but they play some this season. So he does have the opportunity to play more football this year. Just throwing it out there. That's all I am. But to be fair, I actually think it's a good move. I think it's a good move for him, good move for them. Aston Villa is a team where they're the type of team that fall in love with loan players. They have with Coutinho in the past. They did with Rashford in a few months, Asensio, and I think with Sancho, this is a good opportunity for him to go to a team who needs someone in his position, of his play style, under a manager who, to be fair to him, I think Unai Emery is one of the best like offensive coaching managers in actually making players better and working with them. I think it'll be good for him to work under. Now, obviously, this move is sort of money driven in the fact that he's going to get paid his full wages, isn't he, from either Aston Villa or Man United are going to supplement some of that. So he obviously didn't want to leave without getting his full wage guaranteed, and it's clearly that some of that's to play in it. But look, he still gets to play Premier League, he's still going to be playing Europa League, and to be fair to him, it's actually a better move than that of Juventus or Roma or so on, because I don't think the Serie A is where it's at right now, and he wants to platform himself for a potential World Cup year. Aston Villa would be a good place to do it.
Yeah, and try to platform himself for no World Cup. My man don't care. If he cared, he would have signed for Chelsea. He would have took this preseason seriously, where instead of flying around all of the United States, instead of getting tattoos of a girl's name behind his ear and that. Besides, if he wanted to take everything seriously, he wouldn't do all of that and be focusing on the football, getting back to his best, getting back to full fitness, and then actually making a move that makes sense earlier in the window, so you can have a full preseason with a team and move forward. Listen, I really liked Jadon Sancho when he first came in. I was so excited for him when we signed him. I waited 2 years for this guy to come through the door, and he's just been a big disappointment. He's just been a massive disappointment. And hey, listen, I don't think he necessarily is a Premier League player. I think maybe if you put him in Spain or in Italy or in Germany, like we saw with Terry, I think he'll do well in Europe. But maybe the Premier League is just a bit too physical for him. But mentality-wise, poor. And he had the chance to go play for Chelsea, Champions League. You just won a European trophy with them. They went on to win the Club World Cup. You had a chance to be a part of that. You had a chance to be a part of this team where I believe could challenge for the Premier League this season. Maybe not win it, but they'll be close. I think they'll be thereabouts. And he decided not to be part of that over money. And I know people say footballers need to go earn their bread. Like they've got a short career, so as much as you can. And that's fine. And that's fine for most players. The average player, go earn your money where you can get it. But when you're a talent like Sancho, when you've got the ability of a Sancho, for me, you got to look past money and look for legacy. And he's just not done that. So hopefully Man United, we see the back of him. This is the last time we ever see him come back into the doors of Manchester United. So yeah, hopefully he plays. I actually hope he does well. I really do.
Yeah, But with Chelsea, I think he wasn't really starting for Chelsea. You know what I mean? I think, what did he have? Like 1-2 goals, 2 assists or something when he was there, and he didn't start every single game. So I think going to Aston Villa, he'd probably get a few more opportunities than he would have if he was at Chelsea. Like Chelsea are going to have so many players now. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, I think moving to a team like Villa makes sense, but I don't know if Villa was the right choice. Like Villa right now seem like they're kind of. Emery is a really good manager, but I don't know whether there's like a certain situation going on there where he's kind of maybe got the most out of this team and they've maybe taken them as far as they can. Like they're obviously struggling a little bit financially in terms of, we know they obviously sold their women's team with PSR. They haven't been able to bring in the players that they want. And they've sold Ramsey to Newcastle. Like they haven't really been able to, like even since they sold, I can't remember his name, but the striker that they sold to Saudi in January.
John Duran.
Yeah, John Duran. Like they sold him, and like, do you know what I mean? They haven't been able to really reinvest that money. So it is. I think they're going for loan players because they feel like that's all they can do. And I think bringing in him, will there be a good environment for him there as well? I don't think so. I think they're going to struggle with like Europa League as well this year. I could probably see them like bottom of the top half. And then, yeah, they'll try and give the Europa League a good go because he obviously has a lot of good pedigree in it. And I think they will keep him, but I don't expect Emery to be at Villa next year.
That's a big shout out.
No, I agree. And look, I mean, it's really funny because there's always tit for tat when it comes to. I was listening to loads of content from Arteta Outers last night, and there was still some talking about how they think Unai Emery would do a better job. I'm like, bruv, How would you handle being 3 games into the season with your team not scoring a single goal? You'd be
They got
losing.
battered yesterday. Like,
Yeah, they
you'd
got
be-
destroyed. But what I will say quickly about Sancho and Villa, if he decides to switch on, if he decides to focus, and if he decides to work hard, they might have their Grealish replacement in terms of creativity, being a maverick, having freedom. But do I think he could do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but the potential's there. It's down to Sancho now. Like, it really is.
No, listen, I hear that, mate. End of the day, KJ, if you didn't eat any of your wife's beautiful cooking and you spent 4 hours a day in the gym, you would look like Mr. No. But I mean, this is a compliment.
Yeah.
You would look like Mr. Universe in 12 months, but you know you're not going to spend that much time in the gym. And you know, when your wife's cooking up that beautiful Jamaican food, you're sitting down together and eating it. Jadon Sancho isn't going to work that hard. With all due respect, he just isn't going to do it. Jadon Sancho, I think, has already made his mind up about where he wants to be in the footballing, in the hierarchy of football. It's very much he'll be a top player. He'll be in the top leagues, but he's never going to be one of the top performers in those. He doesn't have the appetite for it. And when I said some things about him in terms of his professionalism as a footballer at United, I got a lot of criticism, and I kind of questioned myself a little bit. But it was watching the Chelsea fans all say exactly the same thing. That's when you go, do you know what? When it's happening in more than one place and different groups of people, different fans, different people, different age groups are all saying the same thing, I'm not even going to say that he's a problem. He just isn't worth the hype and the money that he gets paid and that he costs in transfer fees. He's just a good footballer. He should be looked at in the same way someone like Minter is looked at. He's in that category of football players who will have moments where you go, wow. But overall, he's a bit of a mid-table football player for me, and I'm glad that he's gone. I'm glad that's out of the way. There is an option to buy for us to extend the contract, and I was listening to Goldbridge earlier, and he was saying he wouldn't do it. I agree to a certain extent. If we get 3 months into the season and Villa say, look, we want to make this permanent, then we go, well, get it all agreed so Sancho can't get out the deal, and then we can extend and maybe take a little bit of a fee. If Sancho's playing silly bastards again and like I'm not agreeing anything until my contracts are that nonsense, then just don't renew it. Get them to cover the salary. At least it saves us £17 million or so this year. We don't lose any money, we don't make any money, and we move on. But we'll share it works. But overall, but someone here says, Terry, you personally wanted Sancho for 2 years? Yeah, because there was a lot of hype about him and he looked good. What I'm not going to do is revisionism about how I felt about something at that moment and at that time. You know, at the end of the day, loads of people used to hype up Game of Thrones. It wasn't their fault. See, the final season was shit. Like at the end of the day, I don't control Jadon Sancho. When I was watching Sancho at Dortmund, me and everyone else around the world said serious player. Some people predicted it wouldn't work in the Prem, but it wasn't based on anything. What's it based on? It's coming from Germany. What does that mean? Germany. They sounded a bit like Unai Emery yesterday. But what is it about the Bundesliga? Just Germany. Just Germany. Not analysis. You're just throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. Yes, I rated him, and I do think he's technically brilliant. I think the talent is there. He doesn't have the appetite to work hard enough to make his talent produce in most games across a 90-minute match. It's fits and starts, and for me, that was the mistake. But everything I saw in him in terms of talent remains. It's the work. You know about the work ethic. The work ethic is different. It's like a job interview. It's not a job interview. It's like when you first start dating someone. You show people the best part of yourself. Often it's not until you're with someone for 6 months that you start to see the relaxed, true version of themselves. And Jadon Sancho. Viewers, do me a favor, please, and hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you get that bell notification button turned on as well. Very important to the channel that you do that. I want to move back to the big news from last night, gentlemen. And of course, that was Alexander Isak joining Liverpool Football Club, £125 million, Jamie. You must be absolutely made up.
Wrap the league up in red, please. We'll take it now. We'll take it off everyone's hands. Yeah, listen, I think the probably the most drawn out transfer that I've seen in a while. And I think this deadline day, we were speaking, me and KJ were saying just before we went live, like it'll probably be one of the best deadline days in a very long time, just for all the transfers that are obviously moving around. A lot of dominoes starting to fall into place now. And yeah, like I think, would say Isak playing yesterday, would he have made a difference in terms of maybe attacking output? Potentially. I think a player of his quality. But I think overall, a core across the entire season. Like adding someone of that level to this Liverpool team, a team that is going to score goals, even if he wasn't the team, it's just going to be ridiculous. And I think getting Mark Guehi over the line is something that I think probably Liverpool fans, if you had asked them, I think they would have maybe prioritised more, but it looks like we're going to get the two of them now. And yeah, I just think it's been an unbelievable window. Like, we've obviously spent a lot of money, but we obviously have sold a lot of players too. And there's been a big change in the squad. I think that's something that we'll have to adapt to throughout the season. I think it's something that we're still trying to adapt to. I think we've seen it against Newcastle. We play a lot more open. I think if Arsenal had went at Liverpool yesterday, we would have seen Liverpool maybe cough up a few more chances than they did. That's how Arsenal wanted to set up. And yeah, I just think Isak coming to this team is just, it's going to be ridiculous. It is going to be ridiculous.
Go on, George.
What are you saying, George?
Yeah, I was. Do you know what? Yeah, great deal for Liverpool. Great deal for Liverpool. Nobody can take nothing away. Alexander Isak is one of the best strikers in the league. And what he's going to bring to you guys, just when you say watching that game yesterday, although I really highly rate Ekitike, I think what he brings to the team is great. I think Isak is just that bit more clean, a bit more polished than him. He's sort of has the everything that FTK can do. He can just do that a little bit better right now. So when he does come into the team, it's a massive boost. But looking at it from the Newcastle point of view, I just can't sit here and feel bad for Newcastle in a way of not the way that they've ran it, but the fact that you've given them 125 million. They've went and spent that already on two strikers, and I'm just sat here and I'm like,
sorry to interject, mate. Have you just read? So Ornstein has just tweeted in the last 5 minutes about the deal. And what he has said is that Newcastle have reached a verbal agreement with Brentford. Brentford view the deal as 55 million fixed. Newcastle was suggesting it's 55 plus 5. It's expected. This is from Ornstein. And when it comes to Newcastle, this man's been so accurate this summer. I don't care what any Newcastle fan says. They're paying half of it up front. So they're not spreading it over 3, 4, 5 years, half up front and half next year. Plus, they've done a great deal here, Brentford, for a 28-year-old, 1 year left. Plus a 25% sell-on clause as well.
That's what I was just looking at. And that's why I was sitting there. I was like, Newcastle have been shafted this window. Like, they've had a horrible window, I think, just in total for the amount of money they've spent on players. We obviously knew because they were going to have this Isak sale. We know for any team, whenever you have a massive sale of 100 plus million, now teams are going to start bumping up your fee a little. And Brentford have done that. They've took advantage of it. They've won the deal. Newcastle fans, you know, one thing we can't hear is we're not allowed to spend because of PSR. They've spent 200 plus million pounds on just attackers. So they've competed with Manchester United. They've competed with the likes of Arsenal, maybe not Liverpool, but with all the top teams, they've spent near enough the same amount on just their 3 attackers in Alanga, Wissa, and Voltameda. So, look, we don't want to hear no excuses now. Newcastle have to compete. And, yeah, but look, Liverpool run away with the league, man. Wrap it up in red, like Jamie said, because Isak, it's a massive signing for them, man. Massive.
Yeah.
I seen a comment there, Newcastle, Bonnie Blue sentence.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the thing is in Newcastle, the bit that's really frustrated me, the bit that's got under my skin has kind of been this weird arrogance all summer that, you know, I saw True Geordie again today, who, look, the respect I put on True Geordie for what he did for the content creator game, because he's a goat within the category. Whether you like him or not, he's a goat within the industry. But speaking about, look, this summer, you know, we've had to sell because of PSR problems, and this is exactly why PSR was brought in to hold us back. You tried. It's like when Liverpool used to do this whole, we only spent big after Coutinho because of the Coutinho money. But you were trying to buy the Van Dijks in the summer and you were trying to convince Coutinho to stay. You would have still spent that money. It's just you happened to make a big sale. It was never you just spent because of that money. You were always, if you actually look at the stories, you were trying to sign those players and convince him to stay. You were trying to sign Ekitike and Šeško and Mbumo and Cunha and Howson and Guehi, and you were trying to convince. You wouldn't have got all the strikers. You would have got one of them. And you were trying to convince Alexander Isak to stay by offering him the biggest wages in your club's history. So this notion that PSR has held them back is just it's basically a comfort blanket and a safety net and a protection to not view their own mistakes. And the journalists haven't helped, because I want to show you this. This was only 10, 11 days ago. And this man last night, Luke Edwards, did this shameless post about we get things wrong sometimes, situations change, don't hold it against us. This is what the man said. If you are reading Newcastle's statement tonight and still think there's a chance Alexander Isak will join Liverpool this summer, good luck to you. You're going to need it. I've been trying to tell you all summer what the situation was. Some of you don't want to listen. And I'm sick and tired of people almost defending this guy and acting like, oh, yeah, but, you know, situations change. They change their minds late on. No, this man all summer kept on saying the same thing, laughing, belittling, calling people simpletons. Now what he's doing is this weird, like I'm a victim because people have given me abuse. The only reason you got abuse is because you were calling people names, calling them stupid, calling them thick, and you were lying. You were absolutely lying because you.
Sorry, did you see his quote tweet of Ben Jacobs?
Yeah, but I was literally about to say he had the audacity to quote tweet Ben saying, "Why you basically saying why are you claiming this as an exclusive? I'm the one that broke the news. It was me, bro.
But equally,
listen.
Sorry, go on.
Listen, this. Then I saw his whole long monologue about, like you said, he gets things wrong, but I get to say what I told. Things change. I'm proud of myself because I was the one that broke this exclusive deal for British transfer record. I was like, shut up, you clown, bruv. You absolute knob. You know what it is? I don't like getting like personal with people, but when I see a guy, he's supposed to be a journalist. He's supposed to be fair and balanced within the reporting.
Yeah.
Starts tweeting, speaking to people like they're just some simpletons that they can't read between the lines, and then you have the audacity to go to your quote unquote colleagues and say, mate, I'm the reason why I'm the reason why I got this right. You should be quoting me, bro. You ain't that guy, man. I never knew who he was until this window. I never heard of Luke Edwards before.
And you know what's really funny, KJ, as well? The Newcastle fans, even last night, defending him. He's a good guy. He broke the news. He knows what he's talking about. But that tweet I just put up on the screen, it isn't about things changing, because they do change. And journalists have learned, and this is what's really funny. Journalists always get stick for saying, as things stand, this isn't happening. You're just saying that to cover yourself. No, they're being open and balanced. They're telling you that right now they heard nothing. There have been some murmurings. Things could change, though. That isn't in the start what the Luke Edwards and the Craig Hopes and the Keefs did. It was, it ain't happening. It won't happen. Every now and then they'd throw in unless crazy conditions are met. And then whenever there was a statement from Newcastle or a briefing, it wouldn't happen. They would all come out and do the, see, listen to me. I told you this won't ever happen. And that comment and that tweet from him there is not him saying it's unlikely to unless something dramatic changes. If Luke Edwards would have been saying something might change, if this happens, if this condition is met, there could be a big swing around. But at the moment, it looks unlikely, but things could change, which the big journalists do, it would have been okay. But what he tried to do, he took a bet. He took a gamble this summer. I could make the Newcastle fans love me forever. But some are indoctrinated. They're still defending him now. Bro, we know you were right. Don't worry about it. Listen, people like Luke Edwards have contributed to a terrible summer for Newcastle United, which, look, I think signing Wissa and I think signing Voldemada, I think it's pronounced Voldemada, I think. I think it's pretty good signings. I think they've signed some good players. And with strikers, I think they would have been 9 from 9 in the beginning of the Premier League season. But instead, they're sitting there in 16th, 17th position in the league, barely scoring goals. They've added that into their team now with the Wissa deal that's been announced. But Liverpool, back to them for a moment. We've got loads to cover this morning. I want to give big shout out to the United Stand community that have joined us here as well this morning. 5,000 people tuning in, which is massive. But please get the like button hit. Please get yourselves subscribing to the channel and get that bell notification button turned on. It is a massive, massive deal for Liverpool in terms of the quality of Isak coming in. 125 million. Again, Liverpool demonstrating how to do business in the sense of not panicking, not just go, okay, there's 150, there's 160, there's 170, plus an 80% sell-on clause. They bid their time and they were confident they would get it done. They didn't panic. They didn't get involved in anything public. They just were putting in British transfer record bids. Does take the spending now beyond, I think, 400 million this summer. Plus now there's talk of 35, 40 million for Guehi being next? And how important is the Guehi deal now to strengthen that back line, Jamie?
Yeah, really important. I think Konate yesterday, we've seen a better Konate. I thought he did well against Gyokeres. And I think bringing in Guehi is someone that just, when you're when you're going for all these trophies, you need players that can step in and obviously compete. And I think we'll see it with Isak and Ekitike. I think Isak will obviously be, as George said, he's a little bit more polished. But I think Ekitike, from what we've seen in the first few games, is he has a lot about him as well. And you need these players in your squad to be able to go on and win the big trophies. I think even last week against Newcastle, Slot said that the most disappointing point of last season wasn't losing the Carabao Cup to Newcastle. It was getting knocked out of the Champions League by PSG. So I think he'll have his eyes set on the Champions League this season. And I think Guehi, he just, like, you've seen it yesterday, he's just such a good footballer. Do you know what I mean? Even Gomez yesterday came on when Ibu went off. He added a lot. I thought he did well. Even the Eze chance just before, he was able to shuffle him and not give away a penalty. So Liverpool have options. I think that was the one worry. Even though we'd bought all these players, we'd obviously sold a good few as well, and we didn't really have as much options as we did last season. I think that was the difference last year. Like, you look at Gakpo, Diaz, Chiesa didn't play too much, but he's had a little bit of part to play this season. Nunez came on, scored some big goals. Salah obviously was a big point. Like, there was a lot of depth in that team, and I don't think we maybe replaced the same level. So I think we have now, and I think you could probably say this is obviously a 10 out of 10 window. And the fact that, because even with the amount of money that we have spent so far this year, I think our net spend in terms of ins and outs would have been about 50 million, I'd say. But now you're saying, like, if we push over the 40 million mark, it's like, what, 200 odd million spent, 250 million. It's actually investing in the squad. It is spending money that FSG, like, say, haven't brought in players for. It's actually money that was from running the club successfully over the last, say, decade, that they're able to spend this money now. So yeah, it's huge. And I think Liverpool fans are rightly excited. Rival fans are rightly worried. And I think the expectation should be that Liverpool go on and compete on all fronts now. I don't think you can say, like, that they shouldn't be getting knocked out or beaten by any other team. The expectation is every game that they go into, they should win. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm excited as a Liverpool fan, as all Liverpool fans should be.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the expectations that, and this isn't even me as a United fan saying this, you can't be dropping, we're adding in the 125 million here. So sorry, I'm doing that in euros, but so you've spent in pounds so far. You just convert this into pounds. 290, yes, 294 million. I'm not including add-ons in that because that's from Transfer Market. You add it's 419 million pound has been spent this summer window on the champions of England. There has to be an expectation for you to win every game. Not that that's the reality, because very few, even teams that go invincible, don't win every single game. Bayer Leverkusen are an example. Arsenal, of course. But there is an expectation for you to be the favourites in nearly every single game you play, both domestically and in Europe. But that is what happens when you spend that kind of money on an already very, very good team. But I do think Mark Guehi is key, because although Konate played well yesterday, I don't think Arsenal took the right risks, especially in the first half. They had opportunity to put that ball in between your two centre backs for Gyokeres to run onto, and they didn't play the pass. And Gary Neville called this out all game. They actually were happier playing risky passes at the back than they were playing risky passes at the edge of your box. And that's where Konate has been found wanting a lot this year, when balls have sort of been played along the ground in behind him. He's been a little bit all at sea, and they didn't test that yesterday. But I think Mark Guehi, if it happens, will be a phenomenal piece of business for you. I really, really do think you do that. And it's as close to a 10 out of 10 transfer window I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I think
I can't. Yeah, sorry.
Like, obviously he was spending all this money, and I think there's probably the criticism is, now this is Slot. Well, not criticism, but like, this is Slot's team now. You know, last season we brought in Chiesa. It's not his team. So like, he obviously did wonders with, say, Diaz and Gakpo and Gravenberch, and he developed them really well. But now we're going to get to see like what he actually does with this team. He's obviously lost Trent. He's brought in Wirtz to be the creative outlet. So it's a big shift in how Liverpool play. I think we probably will see that there will be gaps in this team until he figures out exactly what way he wants to set up. But I just think, and I think we actually seen, and Arsenal went to Liverpool yesterday, and I think you can admire the level of concentration and the nullifying Liverpool at Anfield, because they did do that, and I think you can respect that. But the thing is with this Liverpool team is they don't mind risking going for a game. I don't think they were able to do that yesterday, and I think it would 9 times out of 10 that ends 0-0. It's just a little bit of brilliance that gets Liverpool over the line. But Liverpool don't mind going for a game and losing it. You seen it last week against Newcastle. Newcastle had all the momentum. They had all the aspiration to try and go on and win the game. Liverpool were hanging on. Slot brings on Elliott and Rio, and he's like, if we get an opportunity, we're going to take it. And if we can create something, we'll go on and score, and we'll try and win the game, even though Newcastle had all the momentum. And then he gets his rewards for doing it. Sometimes you might lose that. Sometimes you might lose that game. Sometimes you might win it. And I think on that day, Liverpool won it. But if that was Arsenal, he would have been bringing on defenders. Arteta would have been bringing on and saying, let's just nullify them. Let's just hold on. It was unfortunate that we were 2-0 up and now it's 2-2. Let's just save face and take the draw. But Slot doesn't play like that. Liverpool don't play like that. And Liverpool will be one of the most entertaining teams to watch this season in the Premier League. Most neutrals will want to watch Liverpool because they will create chances. They will be open. They will be expansive. And Arsenal are the best defensive team in probably in Europe. And they'll nullify a lot of teams if they want to play like that. But you're not going to win a Premier League like that. And I just think this Liverpool team, with all the additions, with all the money spent, they'll be so good to watch and so hard to stop. Because I think I've seen it was a stat. Slot, since the Slot has come into Liverpool, they've scored 1 goal in every game that he's managed in the Premier League. There's only 1 game that he hasn't, and that was the 1-0. Yeah, the 1-0 loss for us. So that's the only game. So I think it's 39 games, 40 games, 39 goals, where he scored 1 game or more. So to beat this Liverpool team, you have to score 1, 2, 3 goals. And not a lot of teams are going to be able to do that. Whereas with the Arsenal, it's the opposite. They need to be able to create chances. And listen, they might be very hard to beat. They might not concede many chances or concede a lot of goals. But if you can't put it in the back of the net, then that's where your issue is going to be. And I just think this Liverpool team, because of the amount of goals that they have in the team, they're going to be very hard to stop.
Liverpool have been ridiculously clinical so far this season. We're only 3 games into the season, so we have to be very, very sort of mindful of that when we talk about it. But if you look at I'll put it up on the screen in a minute when it decides to load. But I was looking, because I was actually doing this because I wanted to look at what United were doing, but at the same time it's important to cross-reference it against your kind of rivals and other teams in the league. But Liverpool's efficiency is worrying, because I think, for me, I know that Liverpool are going to become more creative as well as the season goes on, because across the opening 3 games, let me just download this and put it up on the screen right now. I was hoping Jamie was going to continue talking for another 20 seconds because I was waiting for this to...
I can actually say one more point.
Go on.
I say one more point because I see people saying in the chat, they're saying defense wins his league. 100%, you need a good defense to win a league. But Liverpool scored 17 more goals than Arsenal last season. And that was the difference of them winning the league. If you concede 2, 3, 4, 5 more goals, or you have, like, I think Raya won the Golden Glove. Yes, you need a good defense. Liverpool have a good defense. It's not like the defense is absolutely woeful. But when you're going out and scoring 2, 3 goals a game, like you're never going to drop points. You're never going to say get 0 points. You're going to have 1 point or 3 points. You're always adding on to your tally. So that's what I mean, where like Arsenal don't have that. Do you know what I mean? They're going to lose games. Because they might not score goals.
Yeah, I mean, this is the graph I was talking about. So Liverpool have the lowest XG of the Big Six so far this season, but the highest amount of goals scored. The conversion rate for Liverpool at the moment is 29% of their shots on target have gone in, compared to Man United, with just 6% of our shots on target have gone in. Chelsea, you'd probably look at as the most consistent in attack with the amount they've scored and the opportunities created. Spurs, similar to Liverpool, need to create more goal scoring. Again, the one thing that's flawed about this is it's 3 games, and the game against Brentford has totally damaged Tottenham because you didn't have a shot until later in the game. But actually look at all of our teams. We've all played quite a good mix. We've all sort of played a title contender, a relegation team, a mid-table team, and it gives you a little bit of an indication. But that, for me, when I look at Liverpool on that, because I was mainly doing that graph because I was looking at Man United and where we need to improve. And our biggest 2 issues is the goalkeeper, which we'll get onto, and conversion rate. If we start converting, everyone else is converting around 15 to 16% of their shots. Liverpool's is crazy at 29%. That will dip, but Liverpool also start to create more as the season goes on. Man United need to get that conversion rate up by 10 to 12%, because if it was the same conversion rate as everybody else, we wouldn't have 4 points. We'd probably have 6, maybe even more than that at this moment. And yes, the defense between, say, Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea might be the difference between who wins the league, but getting yourself into the title race, being a team that wins lots of matches, you've got to start creating those chances, and you've got to have a high conversion rate. You've got to be clinical. And I think that's what Liverpool are doing with Wirtz, with Ekitike. Now they've added Alexander Isak in. You will have some more games like yesterday this season where you're defensively pretty sound, but you're having a bit of stinker up front. Isak has the ability to drop a shoulder, turn 25 yards out and bend it into the top corner. And that's how you win league titles. That's how you win these big. You even go back to last year, but PSG, look at the football they played in the Champions League. Great. But look at some of the goals they scored to win games or to break deadlocks. You need those difference makers, those game changers, and Liverpool have gone.
Players that can create moments of magic, man. And do you know what? That's what I was gonna say. When you were saying all that, Jamie, like, goals win games, and ultimately you have to score more goals than the other team to win the game. So if you've got a better attack, and then you've got a defense, I think that gives you the better opportunity to put yourself in the best position going throughout the season, because you're going to beat a lot of these teams. You're going to score more goals. Whereas Arsenal, when you're watching them yesterday, the one thing that was clear to see was they were a bit toothless in attack. They brought Gyokeres in, and in the 2 big games that he has played, he's not looked good at all. He's had barely any. What did he take? I think he had 13 touches yesterday. Lost the ball 6 times. Like they, and I'm not blaming that solely on him. I'm not saying he's a horrible player, but even just the way that they set up, the way that the lack of creation for him. Terry pointed out, they're not playing the direct balls through the middle, and even when they're getting it out on the wings, you're not seeing them put a lot of crosses into the area, so they're not actually trying to create for him. So at the moment, especially with Sakura, I think Arsenal have a lot of creative issues that they probably need to sort out and find out how they're going to work with Gyokeres, because I think that's one thing they're still not used to, is playing with a proper striker and actually feeding him.
Yeah, but on Liverpool, this is where the fun begins for Liverpool fans, and to think rival fan, anyone as well as a football fan. How does Slot manage this now? And we put a lot on managers nowadays. We expect them to turn a dud into a world-class player. We expect them to take a team full of unconfident players and turn them into world beaters. Like, there's a lot put on managers, but really and truly, are the tools always what they need? What Liverpool have done, and the likes of Chelsea and the likes of Arsenal, is that they've literally said to the manager, "We've given you the tools, now go do it." And that's how clubs should be ran. So it's easier to judge managers when your club is ran well, because it's not like they're not doing anything. It's not like the club is giving Arne Slot flipping a retired Odion Igalo up front and telling him to win the league. They're giving him the best of the best. So yeah, it's going to be easier to look at Slot like, "Oh, you've done this wrong, you've done that wrong. This is not managing well. You need to change this. You're doing that well," because he's got the best of the best in his squad. And this is where I think this is where clubs should aspire to be. And going forward this season, this is where we're going to get to see the real Slot, because Slot did a great thing last season, managing what he had. He just had a team who'd come off the back of challenging but fell away. He got the confidence back. He got them playing in a way that was effective and got them wins. Now, can you manage? Can you manage these egos? Can you manage these superstars? Isak and Ekitike, those two are going to be fighting it out. Can you manage those guys? You know,
I don't think there's egos in the Liverpool team in that way, though. Like, if you look at like Van Dijk and Salah, those would be like the 2 biggest personalities in the team, and I just think there's a culture like bled into this Liverpool team right now, and it happens from success. Like, say back in the day when United were successful, like Roy Keane, you'd have like Roy Keane, Yapstam, like, had players that manage the dressing room and those egos and make sure that like nobody gets ahead of themselves. And I think that's what Liverpool have right now. It's very hard to get, but it's I think when you have even players like Ekitike, Isak, Frimpong, Wirtz, you have these players come in that obviously have a lot of ability, but they're never allowed to get ahead of themselves. It's always like next game. When
I say egos, I'm not necessarily saying all of your players are like got attitudes and they think they're better than they are, but I think more of like, obviously the confidence goes into that, the ability goes into that, but also when things go wrong, that's going to be interesting. If things do, by the way, I'm not saying things will. If things do go wrong, that's when we're going to see the squad's personality come out. Like, we've seen it many times, and listen, I'm saying I believe Slot will handle it. I believe Liverpool will handle these things. I'm just saying it's a thing that could.
Well, there's no hiding place when it goes wrong. It's like with City at the moment, and I know we're talking transfers this morning, but honestly, I thought City looked good against Wolves. There was a few areas where he went, okay, that's a bit of a problem. Wolves had a lot of chances, but first day of the season, last 2 games, I think that in the end of the games, they've been beaten and well beaten. That last, I know that it's a 90-minute game, but that last 30 minutes,
they were shocking.
They couldn't lay a glove on them. And as much as we're saying, well, Liverpool, they've done 400 million this summer. They have. It isn't just about what you do this summer. City between January and this summer have spent the same. And they've added that to a team that was four-peat champions with the greatest manager of a generation. They better not be losing to Man United and losing 3 in the bounce. Not with Man United being where we are. You suddenly lose 3 of your opening 4 games to the season. There has to be serious questions over who they're buying, the system that they're playing, and has Pep genuinely lost the grip? Because yes, he had a good end to last season when the pressure was off and the season was over. But this is almost 12 months of City being, and look, some will say, they're not, yes, they're not in 8th. They're not where Man United are. They're not in that kind of well, they're actually 12th. They're not like in crisis mode, but they are judged on their ability to win league titles due to what they spend and how well they've been run. That's the standard they've set. And I come from an era where Liverpool and Man United and Arsenal's coming 2nd and 3rds. You were criticised for not winning the league. I'm maintaining that standard against one of the best teams this country has ever seen in this Man City side under Pep and their ownership. And they look really poor. And there is nowhere for them to hide now because the money has been spent. And I think Liverpool, that'll be the one thing where I think KJ pulls on a really good thread. Liverpool have never spent like this in one summer. You've spent lots of money. This idea Liverpool have spent, but you spent a lot of money. So the pressure there is a little different. We're going to come to some super chats in a moment, plus a really interesting piece that Luke Edwards has just put out that I want to bring to you all. But there's a lot of talk today about Manchester United and a new goalkeeper, KJ. There was, I think Fabrizio said earlier on today that Emi Martinez to United is kind of dependent on the situation with Jadon Sancho going in the opposite direction. Laurie Whitwell has said today that we've agreed personal terms with Lammens. There are talk, and this comes from Craig. Craig, by the way, was Craig was on the United stand many weeks ago when I was live. That said, there's a private jet that's left Manchester and it's on its way to Leipzig, and it was the plane that picked up Benjamin Sesko. He's now said that a private jet has not long left Antwerp for Manchester. But who do you think we're going to end up with as our new goalkeeper? Because I think United will sign one today. Yeah. Will it be Martinez? Will it be Lammens? Which of the two do you think it should be? Viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions on that in the comment section below as well.
Yeah, this whole goalkeeper situation is interesting because we went from 2 weeks ago, the reports say Man United aren't looking for a goalkeeper, it's not a priority, to now we've got 2 lined up to choose from, and we're just going to pick one. The funny thing is, with the whole thing is from yesterday and today, Fabrizio was saying if Man United don't get Lammens, they'll go for Martinez, but then also if Aston Villa let Martinez go, they'll get Lammens. So it's this weird kind of circle that we've got right now. And then also Fab saying that the Martinez deal is linked to Jadon Sancho. So we've got Sancho done, but does that mean we're getting Martinez? Because we've heard nothing about Lammens being like off or like collapsing. So it's just a very interesting dynamic we have right now, and I wonder who we pick. I'm really torn about who to pick out of these two. You have Lammens, who's like the young upcoming goalkeeper. He's got very good qualities, very, very good attributes that Man United need in a goalkeeper, shot stopping. I think he's one of the best goalkeepers at cutting out crosses as well. And we need that. We need that strong presence. Hopefully he's good at commanding his box and organizing the defense for set pieces, because we need that as well. So he's got all these attributes that are good for Manchester United. However, he's inexperienced. He has never played in the Premier League before. Is he going to be used to having these big physical strikers challenging him for the ball? The way that they shoot the ball is probably going to be very different to how they shoot in Belgium. Will he handle that? Will he handle the pressure of being in the Premier League and playing for Man United as number one? Because that's one of the hardest positions in world football to maintain. So I have that worry for him. Martinez, okay. I think listen, I think Martinez is overrated as a whole. Like as a goalkeeper, I think he's very overrated. Not to say that it's not good, but the way people like talk about him and eulogize about him, like he's overrated. He's an absolute madman. He's a psychopath in the nets. All his antics, all his arrogance and bravado that he gives off is crazy. He makes so many. Okay, I say so many blunders. Like I haven't got Onana and Bayindir in nets, but he's made high profile blunders. The latest one being getting sent off against Manchester United because he flipping rugby tackles Rasmus Højlund like nowhere near his box. So there's a big worry with Martinez that we're just going to sign another goalkeeper who's not up for it and he'll make mistakes, but he's better than what we've got. He's got the experience of being a winner with Argentina. He is, as for him being a madman, he's got the mentality. He's got the mentality to play for a club at Manchester United. So I'm really torn about where we should go with this. I'm going to go with Lammens. And I'm going to say that because I have this really horrible feeling that if we sign Martinez, yes, he'll be better than Onana and Bayindir. But this horrible feeling that he would just start doing more clangers than we've ever seen him do.
Well, that's what happens when they go United, no?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's just what happens when you join Manchester United. You make a lot more blunders. You make a lot more mistakes.
You become ass.
Yeah, like that's what I'm worried about. And he will cost more in terms of wages. And it's one of those ones where if Lammens makes mistakes, you can kind of forgive because he's kind of like he's a younger player.
United fans will not care. If someone comes in and starts making mistakes, they'll be like, "Get me out of the team now." Like that. You want the player that even if Martinez is poor, he's still the better option for where you are right now. You're coming into the end of the window. Like you just need someone that has a little bit of experience, can maybe just get you through the season, and then you can maybe revise it next summer. But yeah, it was like he'll come under so much pressure straight away.
No, I agree with that point, and I'd rather not bring in a younger goalkeeper under the pressure of Man United where we're at right now because I think it will just destroy him even more. But then it's like with the money that we are spending, the money constraints that we do have, we have to be tight. We have to be meticulous with how we spend. Is bringing in Martinez to make the same mistakes as Onana. I think that's even worse.
I don't think he's gonna.
I don't know.
JJ, you're going over the top, right? The only reason that Martinez's mistakes have been high profile with Arsenal fans because he left their club and that was a mistake at the time for them to let him go. So every mistake that he's made has been pushed out there. I'll be honest with you. Goalkeepers make mistakes.
Yeah.
Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world, but if you actually look for it, there'll be five goals plus a year where you go, should have saved that. That's coming from the man who's the best in the world. There's multiple mistakes every season with the ball at his feet. A few years ago, he had a really bad season where he was making those mistakes. It's just normal. Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar, De Gea, forget De Gea in the last season or two. In their pomp, they conceded goals they should have saved. I think we've created this thing in the world because of social media and how it's pumped into our eyes, where we've almost started to. There is no goalie in the world we can sign now or in history that isn't going to concede 5 to 10 goals a year where you go, could have done better, who isn't going to miss crosses, who isn't from passing out the back going to make some mistakes. It's actually impossible. We as Man United fans are setting this standard of it needs to be perfect. The same as Belieber coming into our midfield. I watched Belieber yesterday push forward when they were attacking. And when they lost the ball to City, I watched a big hole in their midfield get exploited because when your midfield pushes up and you lose it, that's the modern day game. Man United have an issue there, but let's not pretend like other teams don't. Why yesterday didn't we see this in the game between Arsenal and Liverpool? Because neither team committed enough players forward because they were worried about being caught in the space behind. I think we're creating this weird notion of things have got to be perfect. We Man United fans were the worst for it. Get Belieber and midfield, no one's running through us. No, we'll still concede possession and holes in the team will be exploited because every team has holes. This is why I like Lammens. I think there's a real talent in there. But Jamie's so right. We turn on everybody. We turn on everybody really, really quickly in our desperation of wanting to get back to the top. What I like about Emi Martinez, and you said it right, I don't know if it's a psychopath or a sociopath, but either way, I don't think he gives a fuck what anyone thinks about him. Yeah. That's what we need, because he will make mistakes like every keeper will. But when Onana makes mistakes, it becomes a pandemic. The save he conceded against the shot he conceded against Grimsby is the reason he came out and missed that cross. Where for me, Emi Martinez could make a high-profile blunder. Rest of the game, he's fine. Next 10 games, he's fine. We have goalkeepers that when they make a mistake, it goes into the next game, the next game, the next game, and it can take them 2 months to get out of that rut. We need someone that just basically, as much as we won't like hearing this as fans, we need a goalkeeper that just goes, I don't care that I made a mistake. It happens and actually moves on. And that for me is what we need. I need a striker like that. I need a striker that can miss 6 chances and goes, so okay, I'll score the next one. Not a striker that once they miss a few chances starts tensing up and becomes constricted by it. And I do get your point around Emi Martinez, but that's actually why I want him more than Lammens, because I want someone that doesn't care about the outside noise. Because playing for Man United, I think, is the most pressured job in England right now. I think there's more pressure on him joining Man United. There'll be more eyes on Emi Martinez in our goal in terms of how's he going to perform than Isak joining Liverpool. There'll be more pressure on him from the media, from rivals. Every little mistake's going to be scrutinized to the nth degree. So, yeah, I think you've got to be a bit of a sociopath to be the Man United goalkeeper.
No, that is true. And
you have to be a sociopath to play for United, regardless. Right now.
Yeah, I think you do. I do think you've kind of basically, you've got to have that sort of disregard for social norms. And, you know, you need to be, you need to be able to you need to have a tendency to be reckless, but not care. Because you almost need, because I just think you sort of need that. I'm not a sociopath, probably the wrong word for it. I'm exaggerating, but it's what I like about Cunha. A lot of people are like, oh, Cunha, a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Is he the right? No, we need that. We need someone that isn't going to feel the pressure of wearing that shirt. Cantona didn't when he joined, from Leeds United, I may add. And anyone who isn't familiar with that rivalry, do your history. That's just not a footballing rivalry. That goes back to a war fucking 1,000 years ago, and that still today holds relevance in this country. Civil war, that was. I think it was a civil unrest or whatever the fucking word for it is. The roses, the war of the roses.
But by the way, I'm not saying I wouldn't take Martinez at all. By the way, it's just between the two.
I thought you'd love it getting an Aston Villa player. Your Brummy boy is your second favorite team.
No, listen, just because they're from there doesn't mean I have to fully like them all. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But yeah, Martinez would be better than Onana and Bayern. We have the worst goalkeeping pairing in all of Europe, and I'm including Sunday League, pound for pound. So he will be 100% better than Onana and Bayern. That's a fact. So if we get him, at least one. Yeah, he's saving it. If we get him, I'm not saying this is a disgrace, by the way. I'm just saying out of two, we might. I'm feeling maybe taking a bet on the unknown, but maybe the unknown is the reason why we're in this position in the first place.
He's good. He's good at penalties as well, so he might have helped you against Grimsby when you lost.
He probably would have, to be fair.
Lou here says you're describing Onana. See, I think Onana talks like he doesn't care about making mistakes, but his actions tell me that he starts to second guess himself. He starts to his mannerisms. He can't handle it. And at the end of the day, all goalies make mistakes. Alisson has made loads in a Liverpool shirt. I've cheered them, but the very next game will be the best goalkeeper in the world. He won't let it become a pandemic. It doesn't get out of control. You know, the little campfire doesn't suddenly burn down 300 acres of forest. And our goalies have done that on a consistent basis. They've been genuinely this season. They are the biggest in-game contribution to where we sit. You know, defeats that we've had, draws that we've had, going out of cup competitions. I mean, even in the shootout final, Onana got 6 hands to balls. Full hands. What's the replays? Full hands, and couldn't keep the fucking goals out. Those penalties weren't very good. I think a half. By the way, Emi Martinez is a brilliant penalty goal. Grimsby deserve to go through, but a half competent goalkeeper saves 3 or 4 of their penalties, and we're through, and it isn't the headline. And this is where you need players to step up.
A goalkeeper that gets the hand on 3 or 4 penalties, it means he's done a pretty.
No.
As well. No, wait. Because what we saw, I keep seeing the screenshots of when he dove and he's in the corner before the guy's even taking it. I see that screenshot everywhere, but nobody's taking screenshot. He got a hand to about 3 or 4 penalties. Yes, he probably should have had stronger hands. Yes, he could have had them saved. but he did get a hand 3 or 4 penalties, which most people sit there and tell you most keepers don't in a penalty shootout. Like,
No, but
George saved none against PSG. Didn't even get a hand 20. Dove the wrong way now.
What the Goldbergs call him? Biscuit wrist.
You guys need to understand. You guys need to understand why he touched them and it didn't go in. It wasn't an unlucky. He got there and the shot was too powerful and he hit off him. The way he dives, the timing of his diving, his anticipation is the reason why when he hit it, when he hit his hand, it palms it into his own net. That is my problem. It's not a save where it's like, oh, he got close to it. He should have got it.
What annoys me about Onana is just his reaction time as well. I mean, the goal that you scored in the Europa League final again, I think Emi Martinez saves it. We might not then go on to win that trophy. It was a shot that went backwards, it deflected. He dived after the ball went past him, but it isn't this one occasion. It's happened on so many. The amount of times and again, Martinez will make a mistake. Martinez might miss time across and miss it, but he will still save us so many more times in the season when needed. And Bayern ain't much better. Even this weekend, the ball gets hit at him. A lot of goalies would put it over the bar, put it out wide, or get fists to it. What did he kind of
flats at it
into his own legs, which then makes it piddle out in front of him, and it was tapped in. And I'm sitting there like, that's just where, like, I look at Alisson in goal for Liverpool, and I'm always jealous. I looked at Edison, I looked at David. I mean, Raya couldn't do anything yesterday. These guys just make the saves in those moments, and I do think we concede between 10 and 15 goals a year that other teams don't, because we don't have a competent goalkeeper. And there are issues with our system, there are issues with our squad, there are issues with our manager, like most teams in our situation have. But when it comes to Manchester United, the one thing I won't ignore is what my eyes are telling me, because I think I've got a decent understanding of football. But when the data, when the facts, when the statistics all back up what you see, don't be gaslit by people into thinking it's just our system that lets us down. We could change formation. We could go to a flat back 4. That won't make us convert those chances. A flat back 4 isn't going to change what's going on with Onana, because Onana was doing this when we were playing with a flat back 4. And this is something that United fans, we do this all the time. We get a little bit indoctrinated by revisionism. It kind of plays with our minds. Thank God our previous 3 managers all got sacked in the last week, because at least we're not seeing anybody rewriting history about how brilliant they were, because that's normally what comes. Oh, if we weren't playing free at the back, I don't think we'd be having these problems from set pieces and corners. Well, these goalkeepers have been flapping at these crosses, especially Onana, whether we were doing man marking, zonal marking, the hybrid version. He's been bad at crosses in every one of those systems. So I'm not just going to blame the current marking on the goalkeeper being bad when he has been the common denominator in that. And if we start converting our chances, if we have a goalkeeper that is saving us more than costing us, that is going to yield to more points, which at the very least gives you time to build your squad to where you want it to be. And I won't put that. The only thing I put on the manager with the goalkeepers is you shouldn't have picked either of them in the opening 4 games. Tom Heaton should have been starting those football matches, because at 58 years old, he's better. He is genuinely better. So that is on Amorim for picking them. But yeah, I'd go with Emi Martinez personally. Terry, you asked for our, I think you meant to write, but you spoke to you before it, our opinions on why it's the system. And this is what you do: shit it down, then complain. You want a football conversation. Well, it is a football conversation. You give me your opinion, I'll give you my opinion. I'll tell you, and this is where you're wrong, Maradon, and you write in capitals because you think it makes you sound smarter, but it doesn't. There are definitely problems with this system, but most problems with most systems is personnel. So do you have the players to play that way? City at the minute, their system lets them down because their back line doesn't have the speed and pace it used to have when Kyle Walker was there. So it's not a system issue per se, it's a personnel in that situation. There's one of 2 things. You either stick with the system until you have the players, or you adapt your system. Some managers adapt. Pep Guardiola isn't really one of them. He may change the way he plays and have adaptations, but they stick to it as an example. Our manager wants to play a certain way. And I saw, we obviously linked with Conor Gallagher today as well. And I saw a Man United fan say, we just don't want to control midfield, do we? Yeah, and I'm not worried about controlling the midfield. If our aim is to have a midfield that presses and wins the ball back quickly, 1 or 2 passes, we're on a counter attack. If that's how we're going to play, I'm fine with it. But we just have to decide how we're going to play and build a squad to make it work. What I don't want is, we're going to buy a couple of players for possession-based football and couple them with players that want to play really high-paced sort of direct football. Those two things don't work together. We've got to get away from this Frankenstein squad. I'm not married to anyone's style. I don't really care. I think it's vanity at this point. So we have to play football this way. I don't care what we decide to do. We just got to stick to the damn fucking thing. Martinez reminds me of Fabian Barthez in attitude. I'm not convinced, Terry. Costa or Lammens for me. Well, it won't be Costa. It could be. Listen, I get where you're coming from with the Fabian Barthez thing. Martinez has been one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, though, for the last 4 or 5 years. He just has been.
Yes. No, he has. But then also, I don't think Onana or Bayern has ever been sent off for rushing an outfield player outside his box, which is...
That's what they don't come off the line.
No, that's not Onana, bro. I've seen him at halfway line at times. It's crazy. My man is everyone's insane for United, but yeah. But to be fair, you got this super chat here, Terry. If you want to read it, that says the aggregator
United exclusive is tracking a private flame from Antwerp to Manchester, possibly Lammens incoming. Listen, I'm happy with the young lad. I'm going to give him time. I'm going to be supportive of him coming into the club. Like I'm still seeing big Man United fan accounts and TalkSport going, I don't understand why Šeško's not playing. So, well, the manager told you why he didn't play. He wasn't meant to get 90 minutes against Grimsby because he isn't match fit. So they rested him. And he also said that we probably shouldn't have played Cunha because of the amount of game time he's had so early in the season. He pulls a hamstring. It's exactly why he isn't playing. But Man United fans do this really weird thing, don't they, about not giving anyone time or a chance or being embedded into a team. And everything's got to be now. I'm going to start calling Man United fans Veruca Salt. That's what I'm going to start calling them from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want it now. That's what they say. You know, them annoying girls in the supermarket always screaming at what they want. That's Man United fans. Little bitches, I tell you.
Yeah, there's a picture of him online as well, taking a private jet. So it looks like for now that Lammens might.
The one thing Laurie Whitwell said is he has to be in the UK to complete the deal today.
Yeah.
Maybe we haven't made our minds up as of yet, but he's got to be here. He's got to do a little bit of a. Who was it? Was it Peter Odemwingie? Was it Odemwingie?
Yeah, Odemwingie. Yeah, he's at the training ground.
The training ground.
Yeah,
you've got to be there, innit? You got to be ready. You've got to be ready for the call. This is about the game yesterday. It says that yesterday's game, both teams nullified themselves and Liverpool won through a magical free kick. End of story. Folks are coping by trying to place blame and supporting that weak reasoning on what ifs in order to manage their frustrations. Yeah, I mean, what did you make of Arsenal yesterday, George? They're having a lot of stick for how they played and a lot of criticism. People asking the manager to be sacked 3 games in. Has there been a bit of an... I know you're a Spurs fan, so you'll banter him. But do you think there's been a bit of an overreaction to how they're playing, how they played yesterday?
You know what it is, Terry? This is something that we see in every fan base, but like it's just confirmation bias. Any Arsenal fan that wanted Arteta out watched the game yesterday and said, "Oh, we didn't change the football. This is the same rubbish I've been watching for a year. We're not going to win the league. We're not good enough. We can't beat Liverpool." Confirmed because they lost due to a worldie of a free kick. But away from that free kick, Liverpool probably didn't have many. You know, they had some decent chances, but not really standout opportunity. Didn't dominate the game, and it wasn't like Liverpool smacked them up. But then you're going to have the other side of the fan base that will watch the game and show, you know, we've been defensively sound. We've been really good today. We showed up at Anfield. They couldn't score against us, the best attacking team. The league struggled. And let's have it right, they did lose Saliba in the game. So Mascara come on and look pretty decent, look more than comfortable. There's a lot of positives you can take. You can look at it either way as an Arsenal fan. Me, from an unbiased point of view, yeah, we're going to clown, you know, Gyokeres, like I said, for the touches and so on and all the minor things. You know, Eze comes on and I'm glad he didn't do nothing. Like, that's one up for my agenda. Another bad performance. But more than anything, I think Arsenal were all right. I think they played pretty good. Game went how I expected. Defensively, very sound. Going forward, still looking to piece a few things together. You could see that they was missing the some of their attacking players, you know, no Saka, no Odegaard. Probably that's where a lot of their attacking outlets come, especially with the combinations that those two bring together. So away from those two, they didn't have anyone really creating. Madueke, I thought, was pretty decent. So a lot of fans that were onto Madueke, I thought he was positive. He was doing what you sort of expected of him, what he was brought in to do. And, you know, the questions are just on Arteta as always. I think many fans, especially us rival fans, is the one reason I've never had Arsenal as favourites and I never think Arsenal are going to win it is because of Arteta. I think he makes bad decisions. And yesterday, now, obviously, there's questions regarding whether Eze was ready to be thrown into the lineup straight away, Odegaard's injury, but he went far too defensive in the midfield. Going with Zubimendi, Rice and Moreno to start off with, it was just far too defensive and they missed that spark. It should have been even if he didn't feel Eze was fit, Neri should have been in the 10. If Odegaard's not fit, just throw Eze in the 10. Spend 60-odd million on the player. He's more than good enough to play that role, so play him in the position. I just think that's the problem with Arteta. His risk factor is really low, and he never takes enough risk to really put Arsenal in a position where they can go and win games. And far too often, like Jamie alluded to earlier, if it was Arteta and it was 0-0 at that point, when they start to make some attacking changes, Arteta would have made defensive changes. He would have wanted to secure the draw, bring on a few more defenders to make sure they don't lose the game. That is his problem. He made the changes too late and ultimately started the wrong team. But Arsenal weren't poor. I don't think there's anything for Arsenal fans to be mad about. And quite frankly, I don't like. You just got to look at the performance. Say we lost against the best team in the league. It is what it is.
Yeah. Do you know? I think as well. It was a couple of weeks where the Arsenal fans couldn't really complain because they battered up Leeds, they beat Man United, and I think sometimes it's just about getting them clicks. Sometimes it's just about, I have to go fully in today because it's an international break. Then we might come back and win a couple of games, and I won't be heard for 2, 3, 4 weeks. So I've got to get it all out now, what I've got to say. And I do think there's overreaction, but we have some breaking news, people, to jump to. Breaking news is that Tottenham Hotspur are close to reaching an agreement with Kolo Muani on personal terms. According to Fabrizio Romano, talks continue with PSG to get the deal. That's your team, George. Another deal for Kolo Muani. Obviously, very, very good striker. Plays for PSG, part of the French setup. Very famous for a particular video with Saliba that went viral a few years ago. If you were wondering where we know his face from, but just like Muani, do you guys think you're going to pull this one off?
Why?
See, I remember the video. I don't remember faces. But
I made sure I was looking at the faces and nowhere else. That's why I remember the faces.
No, to be honest, look, I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player, and for what we need, he does fill in the role. My concern is only we're going for Muani because we've heard a bit more about Solanke's injury and we've moved away from Lookman, who was supposedly the left wing priority a few days ago. I feel like we needed more of a left winger, someone that can come in on that left wing and have a strong impact. And I know Muani can play there. I just don't think he's out and out that role. He is a good player, though. He did have a good second half of the season at Juventus. I think he scored like 10 goals in 16 games or something like that. So he had a loan move. He was very impressive. He's good for what we need, you know, good on the ball. He's tall. He's got a lanky frame. He's good in the air, and probably a type of, well, when he comes into a striker, a type of striker that we don't have, or type of winger / player that we don't have. I know this is probably going to be a loan with an obligation around 40 million. So the deal itself shouldn't be too much money. And he's all right. This isn't one that's going to get me going and be like Xavi Simons. This is a great signing. This is just an all right signing.
What's the fee?
What do with him.
What's the fee being talked about?
I believe not Juventus. PSG wanted between 40 and 50 million euros. Where it has to be a loan with obligation. So 40 to 50 million euros.
Oh, euros. That's not too bad, to be fair.
That's all right.
Yeah, Muani's just one of those streaky strikers anywhere. Like, you have a good few games, score a couple of goals, he looks great, and then he'll just have a barren spell, and you're just like, mate, like, well, where did that go? And obviously, besides that video Terry talks about, he's also known for that the miss against Argentina in the World Cup final. And I think
hang on a minute. You mean the Emi Martinez save?
Yeah,
no, it
was an amazing save
in football history.
It's like KJ sort of doesn't praise up his potential new goalkeeper there because he wants to hate on him. Just want to point that out. Sorry.
Lammens wasn't doing that time.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Why is everyone saying Oni for?
There's more breaking news. You can run the slide. 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 Run the slide
Manchester United reach a total agreement with Royal Antwerp to sign Lammens, a 23-year-old keeper. It's a deal worth 21 million plus add-ons. Man United get Lammens. We have decided go for Lammens, not Emi Martinez.
We're just picking up Martinez for 20 minutes.
Hold back. Hold that, Terry.
That wasn't a save in the final. But Lammens to Manchester United is a done deal. That is what's going to happen. And look, like I said, I like Lammens. I won't change my mind about that. I would have preferred more experience, but I did say this yesterday on the stream about it, and I'll say it again now. There was a part of me, and I thought maybe it was a bit of a toxic trait, that if we ended up getting if Lammens ended up going to Villa and looking amazing, and Martinez, as great as he is, in 2 or 3 years is leaving, we might feel a little bit gutted. But it is Lammens, according to David Ornstein today. By the way, big shout out to Ben Jacobs, who has called Lammens to United for about 8 weeks before any fucking knew who he was. So a big shout out to him. But that deal is done, KJ. Sorry to interject when you were speaking about your new player there. Go on then, KJ. Celebrate, as the comment says there.
Listen, I'm not celebrating. Okay, listen. People say celebrating's going to end badly. I don't care. I can't be mad about something I don't know that's coming. I'm celebrating because I don't have to see Onana or Bayindir in my flipping nets ever again. Unless Lammens gets injured, those two guys are flipping out of my flipping life. Finally, I'm going to listen. I hope this kid is good. I hope he comes in and he just.
I hope this kid is good.
I hope he's good.
Listen, I can't sit here.
The perfect words for the silence.
This is more about not seeing Onana and Bayindir than necessarily saying Lammens is amazing. That's all this. I'm not gonna lie. That's what it's about. He looks good. He has potential to be good.
He'll be dusted after 5 games. United fans will be like, get him out of there. I'm sick of him. Why didn't we go for Martinez? He's right there.
You know what? Whatever happens with Man United, anything that's good, you expect the opposite to happen, and then you might just be in a better place. But I'm just happy not to see Onana and Bayindir in my nets again, and hopefully he fulfills the potential that he's got. Because if we do, then we've got a good goalkeeper in the hands that we can have for many years. So yeah, I'm happy. And what, 21 million? I think that's a decent fee. That's a fair fee. And if he doesn't get good, I think we could probably get 20 million back.
We go on the merry-go-round again. Then.
Hey, listen, we'll see, man. We'll see. You know, but it's one of those ones with Manchester United. We get slammed for not getting the players before they become superstars. Like, why didn't you get Caicedo before become amazing? Why didn't you get Alvarez before he was amazing? All these different things. We get slammed for not scouting properly. Where's the scouted signings? Where's the unobvious signings and all of that? So when we do it, I'm gonna praise it because I'm like, well, this is what we've been asking for years. We have to make smarter signings, and Lammens could be one of them. So yeah, people can bag on it.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope you're right. I really do hope that you're right. I hope that the Here We Go just landed as well from Fabrizio. I hope it works out. I'm going to give him the time he needs to settle in. Like, I'll criticize him if he does things wrong, etc. But look, let's see how this pans out. Let's see how this goes at the end of the day. One thing we haven't done well enough at Man United in the last decade is listen to the scouts. And when it comes, and there's a number of examples with this, turning down Caicedo's at £2.5 million, turning down 18, 19, 20-year-old Erling Haaland's before anyone knew who he was. That's just to name 2 very high-profile examples. The fact that the scouts said, don't get Fellaini, get Toni Kroos, but we listened to David Moyes and we went for him. You've got to listen to your scouts sometimes. That's literally their job. Scouts are better at scouting talent than managers. In my personal opinion, especially in the modern day game, it's literally their main job. It's all they do. And they're going out and especially when they're tasked with looking for the players that fit the way you're trying to play football. And then the manager's like, no, I prefer this guy. Because no disrespect to the managers. I know they watch game footage, but they're not watching players to sign them. They're watching other teams on how I can beat them. It's a very different sort of way of viewing things. But look, that's done. And you are right. It's a new goalkeeper for Manchester United. It's a new player for Manchester United. And yeah, I can't listen. I hope he does well. I hope he kills it. I would have still preferred more experience. I'm not going to change my mind. And there's another. Here we go. Brentford agree a deal to sign Reece Nelson from Arsenal, and here we go. He'll join on a loan. He's turned down an interest from other clubs. It's just a loan as of now. But I mean, Man United are not good sellers, but Arsenal really don't like selling, do they? They don't like selling, Arsenal. It's a thing with them. But yeah, 21 million euros ain't bad either. What is that in pounds? About 19 million quid. It's not a bad deal.
Yeah, we've got add-ons as well. So I think it'll go up to like 21 million overall one day if he turns out to be good. So
you're not afraid
pounds,
of him succumbing to the pressure like all the other players that come to
no, but the thing is, no one is, George.
Yeah,
I'm worried about every player succumbing to no matter who you are. Yeah.
But
So
it's
one
because
of
he's young in particular. Like with Martinez, I would have thought Premier League experience, been around for a long time. Arsenal, Villa, Argentina. He will come in and he's not going to feel no pressure from Man United, because I'm not being funny. He's won World Cup, he's won Copa Americas. I don't think this is pressure. But whereas this kid, Lammens, for one, most of Man United fan base hasn't watched him, but they're going to act like they've watched him because they've looked at his stats and his stats look amazing. So when he comes into that first game, it's Lammens is so good, but then when he doesn't perform like out of this world, we already know the kickback that happens when he has one mistake.
I am worried, George. I am worried about it, George. I'm not going to lie to you, but at the same time, I said last week I lost faith in everything, and that was just me being a fan and being emotional, and I meant it. But I said I'm just going to watch it every game as it comes. Those United fans that don't show patience, I am getting to a point where they don't have the club's best interest at heart. It's all about them. It's all about them, because there is no empirical evidence to show that being that angry all the time makes us better. In fact, during the social media era where we've been angry, we've got worse. So I've got a message to all those United fans. How about we all come together? Every Man United YouTuber comes together. How about we commit and we sign a contract, which means we forfeit our YouTube channels if we go against it, where we just agree to be positive and encouraging for 12 months, and let's see if it makes us a better football team. Let's do the experiment. Elon Musk, if you want to sponsor it to pay us all, let's do it. But let's have an experiment where even when we're angry, we just say, come on, guys, keep going. Let's do that for a year and see if we're better. If we're not, then we'll do a year of outright outrage every day. But let's go with the positive side first. How many Man United YouTubers do you think will sign up to that? Just to test the theory. I think it'll make us better. How about we test the theory?
And you got to supplement their wages because the views will go down.
Oh no, but they're not. Hang on, but no one makes content for their wages. People make content for the betterment of their football clubs, right? That's why we're all here. I thought that's why we make content. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm up for doing it because this is the thing for me. I could do that about every club. My income don't change. I don't need to be angry at my football club to get paid. So if that's I get it if that's their reasoning, but I don't think it is. No, everyone's making content for the betterment of their football club. Shampers, baby, shampers. But yeah, this is some of these super chats here. This says, could we still get Martinez? Listen, no. I want a midfielder, really, but wouldn't it be mad if we ended up with Martinez as well? Because then me and KJ could both be happy.
Is Onana? Are you trying to get Onana? You're obviously trying to get Onana out the door.
Yeah.
Money for him.
No, we're trying to get one of Onana or Bayern gone via loan or whatever. We just want one of them gone. Martinez apparently is now getting linked to Galatasaray because they haven't found the goalkeeper that they wanted. So I could see him going. I can see him going there. To be fair, so I don't think we get Martinez.
Oh no. Simon Stone has just come out and said Emi Martinez to Man United is off.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's definitely not happening then. Like it's not happening. So,
but it was one of those things. I mean, it felt very close this morning when you listened to what Fabrizio said. He basically was saying that if Sancho goes to United, it could open up the door for him. Man United have decided to go against it, but
to be fair,
I hope it's for the right reasons.
We played a blinder. What we've done, we've uploaded. All right, listen.
It's what you said. Funny.
How have you played a blinder?
Oh, listen to the theory. Listen to the theory. So, Man United have offloaded the unwanted player to Aston Villa and gave him 80% of our wages, which then could go up to 100% of the wages if conditions are met. We were supposed to take one of their goalkeepers away, and then they were going to sign Lammens as a replacement. We've taken away their replacement, and Emi Martinez still might leave. So we've still weakened one of our rivals and given them trash. That is F-leaping behind him, mate.
Villa aren't one of your rivals. It's more like Burnley, Leeds. Like that's your rivals.
The way they're performing.
Further down the
That's a
table.
Villa rival.
Well, listen, the way they were performing this season, they are our
top
rivals. They are our rivals right now because the way that they're performing. Hey, listen, we might be down there with them this season. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what? I hope they enjoy.
That was come here, KJ. That was a 6-pointer there that weekend. Beating Burnley, that's that could come really big come the end of the season when you're just 17th, scrapping to stay alive.
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I still would have preferred Martinez over the two, but it feels not. I don't mind when I don't get what I want when I like the prospect of both, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Onana has 2 flip-flops for hands. He does. He's terrible with his hands. He truly is. There was something else I wanted to bring up as a talking point before the end of the show, and I can't remember what it was now because of the Muani news followed by the Lammens news. There was a story.
Was it?
And I was like, yes, that was it. That was it. Yeah, Nico Jackson to Bayern Munich is now back on.
The way they've Chelsea treated him has been a disgrace, by the way. You've been pushing him out all summer, basically telling him he's no longer wanted. And because you haven't got your ducks in a row about your strikers, you're now begging him to come back and forcing him to come back. Nah, man, let him go. You didn't want him. Let him go.
I think that's something that any player that signs for Chelsea just has to accept, that they could be gone within 18 months, 2 years. He was there 2 years, no?
Yeah,
I just think that's I think if you don't perform, you're gone. If we get a good offer for you where we can make a bit of money, you're gone. Do you know what I mean? That's just the way they operate now. I think you just have to accept that if you're going to Chelsea.
Half the players they signed in that window 2 years ago have been sold. That was like the window of Felix. You had the likes of Vega join that window. Now Jackson. You had quite a lot of players sign that window that are
Fofana as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had loads. And it's like what you said there, Jamie. I think players need to now know if you are going to Chelsea, there is no love lost. If they don't think you're good enough, they sign someone or see someone that's better than you, you will be sold and you're just going to be a pawn to help them get that player. And that's the way it is. You just got to realize that. And players need to stop choosing Chelsea so you don't put your career in these types of situations, because it is harsh. It's very harsh on Nico Jackson because he's only moved to Bayern Munich, which is a better club than Chelsea. And if he doesn't get that move, he may now be forced to go to, I don't know, Turkey, Saudi or something like that to get football for the rest of the year. But away from that, you can only blame the players, innit? They put themselves in these scenarios when you go sign for Chelsea, a club that's been notoriously doing this for a long time.
But to be fair to Jackson, he was accepting leaving. He said no to coming back. They were trying to bring him back. He said, "Nah, I don't want to go." Innit? He's still in Munich apparently. So yeah,
they've brought Guehi back, haven't they? After about 30 days at Sunderland, he's back as an example. What I find interesting about what they're doing here, though, Chelsea, and look, they've had a pretty decent summer window. They've started the season well. Is how long is the lap out for? Because some have said it's 8 weeks. And I suppose that's quite a while. But bringing a player back or stopping Jackson going, and then Delap gets fit, you're then in the same situation you're in now, which is you then got a bloated squad and you want to move somebody on, but they're stuck with you until January. And I get that everybody wants to be in a perfect situation, but with the squad you've got and all the attacking players you've bought, would it just not make more sense to get on with what you've got and wait for Delap to return rather than bring back players like Guehi and Jackson that have just let you down for 2 years, 1 year, and are not very good anyway? It almost doesn't make sense to me. Look, they're entitled to do it. It's their players. That being said, they let Chalobah go last year on loan, and they brought him back, and he's arguably been their most consistent player since he returned. So, it just struck me as a little strange. Unless the injury to Delap is actually feared to be a lot worse than what we've been led to believe. If it ends up being like a 3, 4, 5 monther, then maybe it makes a bit more sense. But equally, you're probably better off buying someone because Guihi's okay, but Jackson, he'll do well in Germany. He's just not a Premier League football player at the end of the day. But they've seen a deal, though. Have you seen the deal? It was a 15 million loan with an 80 million option to buy. Yeah, Chelsea are good at selling, man. They could sell ice to Eskimos or Inuits. Sorry, they could do that. They really, really could.
Well, that's why the reason why Bayern are in this state of they're good, but they're not as good as they could have been in the last few years because their recruitment has been all over the place.
Dreadful, man. And they keep getting rejected. €80 million option.
Did you see that the Twitter lad Byron Space. He was reporting on the Verts deal when it was all coming in. He was like the inner workings of Byron, and like there was like some sentiment around that now they just feel that they don't want, because there's so much money in the game and like the wages and stuff that they have to pay. They just don't want to be at that. They just want to be competitive. Obviously, win the Bundesliga. If they win a Champions League on the off chance they do, they're happy with that. That's what they have no ambition right now to go out and like compete with Real Madrid, the Premier League teams. They just don't want it.
Yeah, that's sad to hear, because obviously Bayern is a massive institution in European football. So, but if I was them with this Jackson deal, I'll go to Chelsea. Yo, you need to bring that buy option down because you've played us around now. You know what I mean? Like, they could have signed him already, got him through the door, everything's all sorted. Now I'd have to rush it because of Chelsea's actions, and the deadline's coming up very soon. We've got 7 hours now left. So yeah, I personally would tell them, yo, that 80 million goes down to 60 or something, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, there is another train of thought to this. Maybe Chelsea have actually decided the loan they didn't actually like the deal. Maybe they want an obligation to buy for a little bit less, which puts them in a better situation, because they're making massive profit on him, whatever happens. I think they spent 27 million. They haven't paid it all off yet, but they probably only owe about 10 million pound on him. So if they end up getting an obligation of 50 to 60, they're like making 4, 5, 6 times their money on him, and at least then it's an obligation, so they actually have to go through with it. What about Martinez to United and then let Lammens go on loan to Villa? Look, it's a fair point, but according to most sources, United are now have moved away from the Martinez deal. They don't want Martinez now. They've decided it was between Martinez and Lammens to be our number one. And look, I still think we're going to spin Lammens as the new backup as well, by the way, to try and relieve the pressure. I'm not even sure if he starts against City. We might even go with Bayern again. I think we might actually bleed him in slowly. I think United are very aware of what both Jamie and George have said. One mistake and the United fans will have their fucking pitchforks out, offering people out, wanting to fight people, losing their minds. You know what it's like. Maybe the best thing to do is to slowly bleed him in over 2 or 3 games. That being said, we're doing that with Šeško because he ain't fully match fit yet because he didn't have a full preseason, and fans can't wait for that either. Fucking manager should play him. Pulls his hamstring. Fucking manager shouldn't have played him. We're very angry at the moment. We are really angry. Chelsea give those ridiculous long contracts. Why they always get players, especially young ones. Those contracts are... Sorry, go on, KJ.
But so they do something kind of smart. Is that yes, the contracts are long, but their wages are a lot lower than what you'd do if you gave them a three-year contract, a 4-year contract. So they can kind of just spread the money over a long period of time, and that's why it's easier to get rid of them, because clubs can look at it like, oh, they're only on 50k. Okay, cool. We will pay whatever fee that they want for him because we can get him on lower wages anyway. So it's, as much as it looks ridiculous, like, it's actually kind of smart what they do. And you just have to say fair play.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's the salaries more so than it is anything else that I would look at. They're not on massive salaries, so they're easy to sell. Why has United's bomb squad been so hard to move on? Because Woodward and the Myrtles of this world were giving players worth 50 grand a week, 250 grand a week, and they don't want to move on because they're never going to earn that amount of money ever again. So they made it hard. Next summer, the players we sell will go a lot easier and for more money. Rasmus Højlund's a prime example. We've got a bigger transfer fee for Rasmus Højlund than we have any of our other players. And I'd say most of the guys in the bomb squad are better than him. But clubs don't want to pay the transfer fee because they then can't cover the 200, 300, 350,000 pound a week in wages that the players are saying, well, I'm not leaving unless I get it. And that's why long contracts aren't the issue. If it was an 8-year deal on 400 grand a week and they flop, you're done. You're finished. But when they're on 50, 60, 70k a week, it's easy to move them on because a new club goes, well, look, we'll give you a 5-year deal, but we'll whack your money up by 20, 30 grand a week. Players will jump at that. They'll jump at it. They really, really will. So I just want to say as well, that was the other thing I was going to mention. Luke Edwards has done an article this morning, and this is his headline. We thought PIF were different, but they caved in just like Mike Ashley. He says, Newcastle Saudi owners were bullied into selling Isak. They should be embarrassed.
Joke. Absolute joke.
A crazy statement that, I mean, you weren't, this is again, I still don't think he's doing I still don't think he's serving the fans, because you're now trying to make them hate on their owners. Their owners have done nothing wrong. It's Liverpool Football Club have come for your player, Newcastle. Well, don't cave. What? It's it's one of the worst things a football club can do is keep a player that isn't happy. It doesn't serve your purpose. It doesn't make you improve. It actually holds you back. I do actually think it's one of the reasons why Spurs, when you were actually flying on the potch, some of your players wanted to go, but Levy wouldn't allow them to. I actually think it creates a bit of a not a nice atmosphere when players go, you know what, I've loved being here at Spurs, or I love being at Newcastle, but United are knocking when we were better than you, or Madrid are knocking. Yep, I'm worth about 60 million. Yeah, but we want 100. Yeah, but I'm not going to get my move then. Well, you're our player. I don't think it helps keep the harmony nice. I generally think letting players go when they want to for good money, I think it's a much better way to run your club than this. I mean, this whole saga could have been stopped 8 weeks ago. They could have had the new strikers in. Wissa and Voldemort could have, helped win them games at the beginning of the season. But there we go.
I just find it funny that they got bullied into accepting a British transfer record. Oh no, the flipping humanity. They got 130 million for Isak. I don't care if you felt like he was 150 or whatever. Listen, 130 is amazing, absolutely amazing for any player in the world of football. So yeah, like they didn't get bullied into anything. They got a good deal.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's tuned into the show today. Absolute legends for being here with us. This is going to redirect you to the United stand. Mark is live right now for the Lammens news. We're back with a phone-in show very shortly ourselves over that news. We're going to take your calls on that. I know a lot of United fans want to speak. Then we're back at 5 p.m. for a 6-sided transfer deadline day special for the last 2 hours of the window. Jamie and George, let everyone know where they can find you on socials, please, boys.
Go on, George.
Durag Diaries, man. Durag Diaries. Everything Tottenham, everything football at the moment. Live again at 2 p.m. We're talking a bit more about the game on the weekend, but also, obviously, deadline day, all the transfers that are coming, and I will be back live the Spurs panel at 7:30 to discuss all the Tottenham transfer window and see how it ends out. So, Durag Diaries, catch me over there, man.
Yeah, me, the football story, trying to get to 10K, currently at like 8.5, but nearly there. So yeah, any support would be appreciated. The football story on YouTube. And yeah, that's my main platform.
Apparently, before we go, there's been a twist in the Muani deal. Apparently, Bayern are trying to hijack.
Spursy! Yeah, I don't think George did that bothered. George like, that's not the end of the world. Yeah.
If it gets me Lookman, it's fine. I don't mind. I'd rather have Lookman anyway. So, fine by me. Let's see.
Also, Fabrizio has just said now that it looks very difficult for Guehi to Liverpool.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Listen, people, get across the United stand. We're back live a little later. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. We'll see you soon. Peace.